In a small coastal village along the shores of the Indian Ocean, there lived a young girl named Amina, known for her quiet nature and the strange gift she carried. While other children played in the sand and chased crabs, Amina often sat alone on the rocks, speaking softly into the open air, as if the wind itself was listening. Most villagers whispered behind her back. "She talks to nothing," they said. "She sees things we don't." But Amina didn't mind. She knew something they didn't. The wind answered her. Her gift began when she was 7 years old. One evening, during a terrible storm, she heard a voice swirling inside the howling wind. It was soft, almost like a distant whisper. "You are not alone. Listen." From that night onward, the wind became her silent companion. It warned her when fishermen would face rough tides. It guided her through forests, showed her hidden paths, and comforted her in moments of loneliness. But Amina kept the secret to herself. Some truths were too big, too strange for people to understand. Years passed. Amina grew into a calm, wise young woman with eyes that seemed to look beyond the horizon. But something dark was approaching, something even the wind struggled to control. The night everything changed. One hot evening, the sky shifted into a color no one had ever seen, deep purple mixed with red streaks. The elders gathered, uneasy. Fishermen pulled their boats back onto the sand. Birds fled inland. Amina felt a chill. The wind whispered urgently, "Danger comes from the sea." But there was more, fear in the wind's voice, something she had never heard before. That night, a massive storm struck the village. Waves taller than coconut trees roared toward the shore. The villagers screamed and ran. Houses shook, palms bent like fragile grass. Amina stood at the beach, heart pounding. "What do I do?" she whispered. For the first time, the wind didn't know. "I can't stop this alone," it said. "But together, we might." Amina stepped forward, barefoot on the wet sand. She raised her hands. The storm's wind blasted her face, but she didn't flinch. She whispered the words the wind taught her long ago. "Be still. Come back to me." The sea roared louder. The sky cracked open with lightning. But Amina kept speaking, calm, steady, brave. Suddenly, something incredible happened. The raging wind curved around her, spinning, swirling, forming a circle of calm air. The waves slowed, shrinking inch by inch. The clouds softened from violent red to deep blue. And then, silence. When the villagers opened their eyes, the sea was calm, the sky was clear, and Amina stood alone, exhausted but unharmed. The elders approached her slowly. What did you do?" one asked. Amina looked at the ocean, then at her people. "I listened," she said simply, and the wind listened back. The villagers who once whispered about her now looked at her with awe. But Amina only smiled, shy and peaceful. She didn't want praise. She only wanted her village safe. From that day on, the villagers no longer feared her gift. They sought her guidance. They protected her secret. And Amina continued to speak with the wind, sometimes laughing with it, sometimes asking questions, sometimes just walking along the shore, listening to stories carried from faraway lands. Years later, the wind whispered something different, something gentle and hopeful. "Your voice saved many. Now teach them to hear their own." And Amina understood. She began teaching the children to notice the world around them, the sound of waves, the whisper of leaves, the rhythm of life itself. And whenever someone asked her how she controlled the storm that night, she always gave the same answer. The wind was never wild. It just needed someone to listen.